right. Thank you guys so much for joining us today as we have a very special guest with me. My name is Alicia Jackson, licensed professional counselor, and today we are going to talk about the important role of doulas and how they can help women through bringing life into this world in a space that's healthy, in a space that's nurturing, and especially for us as Black women. And we're also going to talk about something. I did a little research and I said 70% of women experience postpartum depression. I'm like 70% experience and how important the role of doula can be in that in helping women who experience postpartum depression. And also our pre kind of conversation we were having before we got started in like medical trauma and physicians not listening to Black women when they are in pain and not paying attention to their bodies. So please welcome Lakora White. Yes.
Hi.
Let me do the cut. I'll probably edit. Thank you so much. I want you to introduce yourself to our listeners so they can know how wonderful you are. Already know how wonderful you are, but best.
Oh, I thank you and appreciate you for this time. My name is Lakora White, and I am a full spectrum doula. I do postpartum and birth. I am also a breastfeeding specialist, peer counselor for, breastfeeding specialist for the city of Detroit in the WIC department. Also training recently, oh my goodness, all prayers. I am training to be an IBCLC, which is a board certified lactation counselor. And it's, yeah, I got a lot going on. Author of Supernatural Child, see, look at me. Supernatural Mom and our journey through being a mom and not just relying on our skills, but having the guts to bring in help. So I'm on this mom journey right now and we'll never stop.
The mom journey never ends. It never ends. I think sometimes I go down. Sometimes there's an internal struggle because you do want it to end at a certain age.
Oh my God.
But it doesn't
It
end.
does not end.
No. So okay, tell us, if for listeners who don't know what a doula is, what services or what is the scope of a doula? Because you said you're a full spectrum doula. What
Yeah.
does that entail?
Okay, so a doula is pretty much, they're there to mother the mother. So they provide emotional support, physical support, and informational support throughout the pregnancy. And so they're there to be able to assist and be a part of the birthing team to kind of help navigate through all of the craziness that happens during birth. And to teach them to advocate for themselves. There are times in the hospitals where even the father is like, I don't know what to do, and unfortunately, because for us as Black people, we experience where they just kind of dismiss our men. Seen it too many times. And so what we do in our prenatal visits, we just help to assist and giving them a option, because a lot of times we don't have it, to have the birth that we actually desire. And for postpartum support is the I love talking about postpartum because it's so not talked about. And so postpartum support, because among our community, we feel like we don't need it. And we'll talk about that later. So postpartum, it helps with the transitioning in bringing the baby into the family. And a lot of people fail to realize that there are physical and mental demands that are draining on a new time mother, whether you have multiples or whether you have a newborn and it's just you. But you end up having this sleep deprivation that kicks in, the uncertainties that happen when babies are, newborns, like the crazy weird sounds they make at night. So we do overnight support, because Sometimes you just need an extra hand. And in some
Yeah.
cases, mothers are alone. And so we
Yeah.
will definitely dig more into the postpartum part. But
Yeah.
husband or partners go off to work, or family's gone, and you're there. There's no
Mhm.
manual. What do I do? And a postpartum doula comes in and help. It may be with some cooking, light cleaning,
Mhm.
or just taking a baby so that the mom can go and have a bath. The mom can go and take a nap. Because, and which that when we have lack of sleep, certain things just don't work right in our bodies.
Absolutely.
And we're going to go forward into postpartum depression and how all of those things set in. But a postpartum doula is able to identify some of those things as well that a partner might not catch. So we'll be able to go through this checklist and be able to say, you may need to see somebody, or we have resources for
Mm.
you to be able to assist in that. And just having extra hands too. Sometimes I have went into certain situations where my doula support for postpartum was just sitting and talking for 4 hours,
Yeah.
because that's the only interaction with an adult that person had, or we were just in the
Yeah.
kitchen cooking. You never know what a person needs, and so many times we neglect it because we're like, oh, they're okay, they're strong, we're built like this. No, we can't function like this. We can't
No.
function
No.
properly. We just can't. So that's
Mm-mm.
in a nutshell what doula services um, and postpartum offer.
When you said, I have a caretaker part that's within me. So
Yes.
when you said mother, the mother, I was like, ooh, I would have liked that.
I know, because
Uh,
you go through your birth where it's like, oh, the baby, oh, touching the belly, and everything is about mom. As soon as mom delivers that baby, and then people don't discuss either how husbands and significant others go through postpartum. They go through it as well,
yes. Yeah.
because they see their partner going through and they can't do anything about it. It's very hard to sit back and watch your loved one
Mhm.
struggle with trying to nurse a baby who is screaming their head off, and all you want to do is feed your baby, and they have nothing to offer. So they end up going through this spiral as well. So being able to mother the mother, because it's like a light switch shifts off. It was something I saw on TikTok. I was like, you got to be kidding me. But it's the person gets a phone call and
Mhm.
it's like, I don't want to talk to you. Let me see the baby. But
Oh,
that's how it is.
that's it.
That's
That's
how it is.
but that's
And that's how
universal.
and they don't realize how depression kicks in, because we're dealing with hormones now, and
Hmm.
there's a chemical imbalance that we can't do nothing about.
Hmm.
And so that's why we are there to support. During the birth is important to have a support team too, because like I mentioned off the cuff in our conversation, we're being neglected and our needs. And especially during the pandemic, we started seeing. I am a postpartum doula for Black and white,
Hmm.
for everybody, for low income and for those who got it.
Hmm.
And I have seen in these hospitals where white people are being treated different than Black. I don't care where it is, no matter where the hospital, whether it's low income, whether they got money or they don't. I have
Yeah.
seen it. And having a doula present, it's like having a target on your back, because you got somebody that support. I kid you not, it's the most craziest thing. Like, it's
Oh.
okay when I go in with the white person, but when I go in with a Black person, it's like, oh, they got a doula. I was supporting my sister and they was like, oh, it's the room where the doula is. I was like, what? We're supposed to be here together to help. And I said, and see, and this is why. This is exactly why we do what we do.
Hmm.
And even providing postpartum, you have a birth plan, but what about your postpartum? Do you have a plan for postpartum? How are you
Mm.
guys going to eat? How are the sleeping arrangements going to be? We're not even going to go there about the practices on safe sleep and how breastfeeding helps takes down that infant mortality rate. So, and in certain zip codes in Detroit, how high they are. So I have somebody who is amazing at the Safe Sleep program that I'll connect you with, because that is a
Yeah.
great talk as well. We don't get this information a lot in our neighborhoods, in our community, and
No.
we suffer from it
No, we just do what was done to us or
and
what
keep that cycle. Hmm.
instinctually happens.
Yeah.
Or if we do take the time to have a moment of saying, I want to do something different, but doesn't understand how critical
Right. Right.
attachment is and how critical things from the very beginning. I hear Julie Andrews start from the very beginning, right? And but that's where it starts.
Yeah.
Even as you were talking about mothers during their pregnancy and people touching the belly and like wanting to know all of it, and then it's like the whole focus is about the
Shit.
baby, even from the moment that you say, I'm expecting.
Yeah.
That it just shifts, like it's no longer about you, and and how it's almost like it dehumanizes a woman to say, now you're mother. And what does mother mean?
Right.
Depend, like in our society, right? Like what does mother mean? Uh,
Right.
is it a person who we just count on and know will do everything
Hmm.
and be everything, and not show gratitude and appreciation? Like
Right.
what does mother mean? And I'm interesting if I'm curious about, like, if we had changed that idea of what mother is, and just identify mother as still a woman, if
Exactly.
you know.
Exactly. That's exactly what I wrote in my book,
Mm-hmm.
because we have to allow people to be people, but we also have to let them know that before I became a mother, I was a woman. Hear me roar.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I can do all these things does not mean that I need to do them all.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to understand, as a mother, just because you can do all these things does not mean that you should. Getting help with somebody who literally could do it much more faster, we get it all
Mm-hmm.
together in unity. This is the only way. It says about the tribe to raise a child. Absolutely. But what about the tribe that raised a mother?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because they have to understand. In writing the book, I found some really interesting things, how some people really didn't feel that they had identity outside of being a mom. And that broke my heart, because we have so much to give to our communities, to our families, to this
Absolutely.
world. But we let that one thing kind of pigeonhole us to it. And I'm like, no, I love being a mother. Absolutely. I will mom up some stuff. Okay. But that does not change the fact that I am an entrepreneur, that I am a mentor, that I am an author, that I am a seamstress, that I got lots of stuff that I am good at and that I love
Yeah.
to do, and I'm going to do it. And I'm not going to let just being a mother stop me. Too many times where I had different things, I had my babies on my hip. They was there with me. To this day, they still know how it feels that, oh no, we're going to go. I'm not going to just say, "Oh, well, I can't do this cuz the kids got this." Nope. That's why we get our tribes together, and that's again the doula team, going back to it. That's why you
Yeah.
get your support teams, so that you can still continue to do what you're called to do. Yes, you may be stepping into motherhood, but you're called to do other things as well.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to be able to, and that's where the major thing is, being secure in releasing it, because sometimes we don't
Absolutely.
want to.
Say that again. Say that again. Um, so, what do you feel? What do you feel every mother needs to center her, prepare her,
Mm,
like prepare her
mhm.
soul, her spirit, her body, her mind in order to become a mother? Of course, we know not every mother gets the luxury of doing that, right?
No,
Okay.
no, they don't. They don't get that. They really don't.
Hmm.
It's in a, but I think honestly, there's nothing that will prepare you.
Hmm.
Um, but
Absolutely.
it's not. Whether you birth or whether you adopt or whether you was married into,
Hmm.
you never are ready.
No, no.
But the most amazing thing is you're equipped for it.
Mm.
You're equipped in your DNA to be able to nurture. So, what I am finding in child development is that it's all about the nurturing is one of the things that are just in us.
Hmm.
And but in that nurturing of our child, or that the new addition, we
Hmm.
keep forgetting that self-care and nurturing of ourselves and growing ourselves. Because if we, and what I found out through my trauma and what I went through, is if I don't take care of me, this whole operation falls down.
Hmm.
So we have to nurture from within. You cannot love and show love if you don't first love yourself.
Hmm.
And so, in preparing for motherhood, as you tend to nurture what's already in you, you can't do nothing but take care of, eating healthy and all that, having a plan and preparing. But in that, you have to make sure that you're preparing and planning for yourself.
Yeah.
What are your likes? What, and put that up there. And self-care is something that, like, you have to carve out time. I have so many different clients who are like, I don't have time for it. 15 minutes. Give yourself 15 minutes a day. Make it a requirement. Set a reminder. This is your date with yourself so that you can get back to knowing who you are and seeing, like, oh my goodness, I love the person I'm becoming. Yeah. Because we're constantly growing.
Mhm. Absolutely. Scheduling
We
time
have
for
to
you. We
train
have
this
our
brain to
kids.
keep going.
Yeah.
Yes.
We have our
We
kids stuff
schedule
on our
our,
calendar. Yes.
exactly. What's wrong? What's wrong with it? What's
Hmm.
wrong with, and that's what we don't do in our society a lot of times. We don't put ourselves as a priority
Hmm.
because we just got to grind. We got to get this. We got to grind out this. We got this. We got this. And that's how burnout comes in quickly,
Hmm.
because we have not set those boundaries. And so, in preparation, all I say is that as you are preparing to nurture, you have to remember the first love. Well, God's first love, but you got to
Yeah.
love on yourself. You
Absolutely.
cannot love your partner. You cannot give that love and be that support and be intuition. I mean, and catch those little things
Hmm.
if you're not in tune with yourself.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
that's how, probably transitioning into the next thing about the
Hmm.
trauma.
Yeah. Well, so I wanted to, because I usually start my interviews with saying, what inspired you to be a doula? And so, what inspired you to do this
Oh my God.
important work?
Listen, listen. And man, the work is needed. But let me
Hmm.
tell you why I got started. I got started because me and my family, we were at a birth, my cousin.
Hmm.
She was 19, young,
Yeah.
not married, but she was there.
Yeah.
And I noticed how the staff was treating her, just pushing her around, not thinking she knows anything. And I was disgusted. I
Hmm.
was upset. So I jumped in immediately, like, oh, no, no, no. What is this? Why is this? And just questioning, because
Hmm.
I did not like how she was getting pushed around and ignored.
Hmm.
And so, because of that, I started kind of just being a birth coach for family and friends before I realized that, I could actually do this.
Hmm.
There's certifications for this. Okay.
Yes.
So I had been, my background is in sales. And so I've been in sales and catering sales
Hmm.
and that type of thing for ages and administration. And I just started getting frustrated because, again, being Black, unfortunately, skills and degrees and everything did not mean anything.
Mm,
I was passed up on opportunities and in a room and felt like I was ignored completely
mm,
daily.
mm,
So I couldn't do it anymore and I left. I was done with corporate. And so that was when I was inspired and forced to write and finish writing that book and
mhm,
found my love in supporting mothers and making sure that our voices are heard and that we're not neglected and that we're not kicked around and that we know we have a right to be in the room.
mhm.
So that's why I started being a doula, got my certification, and then I'm like, yes, I'm gonna be a part of the team of Black doulas. And then the pandemic hit. So it was like, then it was a shift. So
Yeah.
bad enough, we already had a shift, then it was like, oh, they're not letting people in the hospitals. Okay.
Mhm,
How do I support? I guess I'm going to support via FaceTime. And then
mhm.
eventually they started, here in Michigan, yay, they started letting doulas in.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's been the journey. So I'm
Wow.
super excited for what I'm doing. And now I'm, like with working with WIC also, being able to talk to moms about the importance of breastfeeding.
Mhm,
And because I'm a doula, being able to speak into certain areas too. I might get in trouble for it, but I'm certified to do it. So I talk and tell them about the importance of, if you don't have a doula, being able to, um, you know, give them that information, so that they can
mhm,
at least have the resources so
mhm.
their
Have the
outcomes will be
information.
much more better. Yeah.
Mhm.
Even though I'm not
Yeah.
supposed to. But
Listen, the best decision is an informed decision. I have to tell my clients that because, like, hey, I know you want me to tell you what to do. I'm not going to do that. That's up to you. But
right.
I could give you some information that can help you make the decision or give you some
Yes.
insight to help you.
Exactly.
Hey, and we'll go from there. And I'll help
Yes.
you in the process. So it's so interesting. We talk about, especially, I'm going to say, especially Black mothers, like how often overwhelmed, just feel overwhelmed, feel burdened, and unappreciated. And so, how would you advise that mother that is struggling with nurturing herself, is nurturing everyone around her, is trying to balance a career and take care of her children or her child, and just feels lost.
It it's it's an interesting thing, but my suggestion honestly is to find a group.
Mm,
Start with a group to be able to
mhm,
talk out your problems, because, or again, find a therapist to talk to, because that's one of the most important things. We like I said before, we won't carve out time. So, but you have to talk about it. You
yeah,
have to reach out, um, and that encouraging them to reach out, encouraging them to there are resources out there for you.
mhm,
But you can draw them to the water. They're gonna have to pull it for themselves. But just being able, and what I've noticed always is not everybody gets the resources. Not everybody's gonna be looking for it. So to be able to just say, hey, go to this group, trust me. Just go to this group
mhm.
and just have
Yes.
a conversation. Just take a few minutes and just, because you're worth it,
Mhm.
knowing that you're worth it.
Yeah.
And you don't want for everything to fall apart. Physically, we cannot keep that up,
Mhm.
because then everything starts falling apart. And then what do you do when you add 10 more years to it and you can't do all that running? Then you
Absolutely.
wish you would have went back. You wish you would have taught. But being able to talk in these support groups, you find out so that it's so much easier when you have somebody to talk to that's going through the same thing. Sometimes you can talk to some of your friends who are pregnant or friends who've had kids and stuff like that. Everybody's their thing is different. Or even talking to those
Yeah.
who don't have kids, they don't get
Yeah.
it. They don't get the screaming kid in the background, and your day don't really start until 11 o'clock at night. 11 o'clock? What? You should be asleep because they're gonna be up at 5, 6 o'clock in the morning,
Yeah.
or be able to navigate through a child still almost 1 years old, still getting up 2 or 3 times to nurse in the middle of the night. What? And I still got to get up and go to work because I'm still a professional, and I still have this. I still got this kid got to go to middle school, and this dance, and this one's a senior. It's life. But we have to literally, I cannot send home how taking the time and talking with your partner as well, having an accountability partner, because
Hmm.
then they will help you to be accountable to it. Hey, weren't you supposed to go to this group? Oh, no, I don't feel like it. No, I think you should go. I'll take the kids. Little
Hmm.
things like that. So when you involve your partners, when you involve family and support,
Yeah.
they are more like, they'll help you. They'll help you stay along that course of self-care management. So even if it's just the weather's breaking, go take a walk, go walk the dog, something. At least they know. And then being able to just be open to share, as I think that's what happens a lot in our communities. We're not admitting defeat.
Mm.
That's defeat. It's defeat when we say, I don't have it. I don't have the answer for that. Or I'm tired. It's
Yeah.
admitting that, we've just like, but it's not though. It's not
Hmm.
admitting that we have a weakness. It's defeat. It's literally saying, I am human. I
That's
am
it.
not. That's why that was the point of my book. We are not super women. We can only do this through the supernatural help. We can't
Hmm.
do it on our own. That whole, I got to put the cape on and I got to run and I got to do this. I'm super mom. No, I ain't. I need help. I have to have a team to do this.
Embracing our humanity. Can we
That's
do
it.
it?
Can we do
Help
it?
us. Help us. Help us do it. God help us. So this kind of leads to my next question about like how do we temper the expectation of motherhood for mothers, putting all this pressure,
It's
especially with gentle parenting and no, we have all this knowledge, right? So we know we need a healthy attachment and secured attachment with our child. We know that we have to do all these things X, Y, and Z for our child to grow healthy, but also have like emotional health and mental health. And so how do we temper our expectations to embrace our humanity?
it's very interesting that you say that because it all goes back to comparison trap.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
We sit here and we compare. Now
Yeah.
social media is just social media. So we get on
Mm-hmm.
there and we are so drawn to everything, and everybody's making this thing just look absolutely amazing. And it's not. Birth is not cute. It is not this cute little neat bow package. Boom, here it is. And neither is motherhood. It's nasty. It gets downright dirty. And the comparison where we feel like, oh, they make this thing look good, so it got to be this. No, it's not. There are so many people who are struggling because of that whole very thing right there, that
Mm-hmm.
comparison. Our birth experiences, even with each child, is different.
Yeah.
Every birth is different, every person is different. So our motherhood experiences are different as well,
Mm-hmm.
even though there are some things that we can gain, pull, and add, but that package is different.
Yeah.
And so we have to stop comparing ourselves and live. That's just it.
Mm.
Just be. Sometimes you may not be gentle parenting. Sometimes you may, decide, okay, you know what? This is not the way to go. I did this wrong with this one. I'm going to do it right with the next one.
Mm-hmm.
I always say my first baby was a chicken tender baby. That's all she wanted was chicken, and red pop is all I wanted. But my son, oh no, I said, I'm craving different this time. And I did. So it was all veggies, fruit. to this
Mm-hmm.
day is the same way. But how we nurture our children changes, and that's a whole nother topic. Um, but
Mm-hmm.
we have to stop comparing ourselves to the next person, and literally just finding out what works best for our family
Yeah.
and just be.
Mm-hmm.
Take the different things, look at the different examples, but you have to carve out your own way, your own path,
Absolutely.
and what will work better. What's is in your DNA, what's your genes, what because that's what's going to cultivate the kids in the first place. So
Mm-hmm.
your kids are going to be uniquely knit to your genes and your spouse's genes. So then you have to nurture based off of that.
Yes.
So
And
how can we mother the
individualized.
same way?
Yeah. Individual, like an individualized plan, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. And so it kind of goes to which, the people say, like, there's no book on how to parenting when there's actually thousands, but what you're speaking to is there's no book on how to parent your specific child, and nobody's Instagram or Facebook post is going to help guide or give a picture of what that looks like.
Nope.
And the best parent is the transparent parent who can say, oops, I messed up, I'm sorry,
Yes.
I'm
Yes. That
sorry.
is the biggest thing in a parent's in a child's life, to have their parents say, "Oh, I'm sorry. I got that wrong." And that allows them to say, "Okay, this is a safe environment for
Mm-hmm.
me to practice life skills on." And so I won't go out into the world being fearful, because we got a chance to work that thing out at home. And I can apologize when I do something wrong. And it shows that human side, and that I'm not always perfect. And that helps their growth.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So let's jump into this postpartum. 'Cause
Ooh,
yes, yes, and how specifically doulas can be instrumental with mothers who are struggling to have healthy attachment to their child, who are struggling with, oh, I'm not liking every moment of motherhood. Does that mean I'm a bad mother because I don't like every moment of being a mother?
mm-mm.
Help us out.
Oh no. Absolutely. Because
Hmm.
there are, we all have our, again, our genes, our DNA,
Hmm.
everything is different.
Yeah.
And when we first have these amazing little humans, our hormones are all over the place. And
Hmm.
so that's why it's so key to have support, who's knowledgeable and will be able to kind of guide you through that, because a lot of times we don't know what's going on in ourselves.
Yeah.
With my first child, everything was great, grand, love it, all is good. She thought I literally thought I could do anything, because this girl was just absolutely phenomenal.
Hmm.
However, my son proved differently. And because he was a preemie, that
Mm.
separation came in. And what people fail to tell you is that is a trigger too for postpartum.
Mm.
When you are separated from the baby, it
Mm.
brings those different hormones and that chemical, and it just throws everything completely off. And so,
Hmm.
though I was still at home and I was pumping milk and getting to, taking it back to the forth to the NICU for my son, I was home alone. I was
Hmm.
crying constantly. I didn't know what I was going to do, and I felt hopeless because I
Hmm.
was by myself. My
Yeah.
baby's not away. I mean, my baby's away from me. Is he okay?
Hmm.
He came here way too early, underweight, that worry, that stress, and everything just came pouring down on me. And having a support, looking back, having a actual person, a doula in my right hand would have been amazing, because guess what, nobody in my family understood that. So that
Right.
I'm looked at as weird. What are you crying for?
Mhm.
And it's like,
Mhm.
what? That's not something you want to hear when you're going through this thing and you can't control it. So having people around you that get it, and sometimes it ain't family, and
Yeah.
and they understand your wishes, when you're saying, what, I don't know what this is, and being able to kind of help you navigate through it without judgment.
Mm.
Like, I'm not feeling this kid today. Here. It's
Mhm.
like, I get it, but we end up judged like, well, why not? And we go through all this back and forth, as
Mhm.
family and friends. And it's like, just let them be. They
Yeah.
need to work this thing out. And sometimes you're not going to like it. Breastfeeding, some people are just like, I can't deal with, it just makes me feel like, I'm a cow and I'm this. And it's like,
Yeah.
it's natural. It's supposed to be. But when you're not given the right information from the start, it feels like a daunting task. So it's
Yeah.
just like being a parent. It's like you went through all of this information at the beginning stages of prenatal and getting your prenatal care and X, Y, and Z, but now you have given birth. Here's the baby. Now what? I have no idea. I've had so many parents who say, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm
Mm.
like, neither do we. We just work the thing out. We make it look good, but we don't. We're just getting the information as we go. And that's so crazy because it's like, this is some of the decisions can make a huge lasting effect. Like,
Yeah.
breastfeeding in short term has a long lasting effect on our children, but we're not getting
Mm.
that information ahead of time so that we know the importance. So we're not learning the importance in our communities about child development starts in the womb. Talking and singing and reading and all of those benefits happen when they haven't even gotten here yet. And then it crosses over when they are here, reading to them. That helps us
Yeah.
as well. So yeah,
Mhm.
this thing is needed, and it's so many different things that just given the opportunity, like you said, we have so many different resources at our fingertips, but it's a mindset that needs to change. I
Right.
had spoke with a mother, incidentally. We were talking about business strategies, and she
Mm.
found out I was a doula. She got excited, and I'm like, and she talked about, she said, "Oh, I'll be hiring you for my next child." But the trauma of this first one through postpartum got me thinking, I don't want to do this again.
Mm.
What? Because the postpartum was so bad, and she had family, but they didn't understand why. I mean, she had to pull back on her business and all of these
Mm.
things because the baby was born premature, wasn't eating well. And once you get into that whole downward spiral, and she felt hopeless often, not getting any sleep. So, the importance of doulas and postpartum doulas help on such a wide range that we take for granted.
Absolutely.
Because my mental state, I was chemically off. So how can I get it together? How can I snap and it just comes back? You can't. It's
Mhm.
just like what's going on with PTSD. You have to get a clinically trained person to help navigate you through those things.
Mm.
That's the only way it's going to happen. So it's the same way with being able to have a postpartum doula there, somebody who to be able to assist, to navigate through that crazy time,
Yeah.
so that you get that support, that help, that love, so that you've built that up, and 2-3 months you good to go.
Yeah. Yeah. That's amazing. You know, oftentimes I think about too mothers who have multiple children under 5 or 4 years old, and now we're just getting to the place. The United States is so behind, but we're just getting to the place where like daddies can get paternity leave. You
Yes.
know, uh, to assist, but
Hmm.
that's few and far in between at times, and
Exactly.
mothers are are juggling and struggling so much because they're taking care of two, three little ones
Yeah.
on their own, feeling like there's not enough of them to
Right.
stretch, like they don't have enough, and then internally start criticizing themselves and feeling shame about it because they want to be everything for their children.
Exactly. Being able to ask for help.
Yeah.
That is the most important thing. Can you please come and just give me a couple of hours? That's again, that's one of the great things that being a postpartum doula allows. In some cases, we're just there with the other kids
Yeah.
so that the mom has bonding time on some days. Some days we're
Mm.
just taking the infant so that the mom can have time with the other kids. Just a couple of hours carved out that so that the child doesn't feel neglected,
Mhm.
in which that
Mhm.
happens so much. And it is an awesome thing that nowadays there are fathers who are getting maternity, paternity leave, and they're able to help. But again, when you're dealing with multiples, you're at the middle of the night. You still have to get up 5, 6 o'clock in the morning to deal with the other kids, and you have this baby who literally, or cluster feeding. When they cluster feed, they are screaming to eat every hour on the hour. So there is no rest for the weary in that kind of situation. So what do?
Goodness.
You gotta
Yeah.
reach out and get some help, whether it's a doula, whether it's a family member, just some kind of assistance really, really does help. And one that judge free. That's where we mess up so many different times
Yeah.
with just
Yeah.
speaking what we think. Sometimes it's not needed. Just go into space and do. I have done that so many times with my sister when she was pregnant and she first had the baby. I just came over and was just like, I
You
see a
jumped in.
need and just started doing it. I don't need you to tell me to wash the dishes. I'm putting the dishes in. Okay, I got the baby. You ain't got to worry about that one. You go and take care of the other one. And sometimes that's all you need is a family member or a friend to just come in. Don't say nothing. Just go and help. That's how we can help out mothers in those situations instead of thinking,
Mhm.
oh, she got it. I'm just gonna sit here. I'm gonna play with the baby. No, go throw a load of laundry in for her. That it takes out some of the stress. So those are some of the things that I would add.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure, for sure. So, how do women access doulas? How do mothers, they say, oh, okay, Cora, I really, really want to do, yes, this sounds great. Someone comes in and will wash a dish while I'm trying to, while I'm trying to like get like throw up off of my shirt and
Right.
and try to feed this person or put this little person to sleep. How do women access doulas? What is that process like?
Well, the process is, I know it's simple. I know for me, it's just a matter of going to my website and
Hmm.
looking up, services.
Yeah.
For some women, I think just literally simple, Google.
Mhm.
You can Google a doula, and there are, if you're looking specifically for Black doulas, there are wonderful resources on Facebook. There's a
Mhm.
Facebook groups. And right now, I'm gonna have to send you the details
Yeah,
because
please
I
do.
have them written down. My memory, again, that's another mother thing. The memory, everything is written down because it just goes. But
Hmm.
Metro Detroit doulas, they are a great resource. If you're looking, you go onto the Facebook chat and just tag in, hey, I'm looking for a doula. And then you can get all of these amazing doulas who are going to send you their information and their website, and you are going to look and see and do a consultation so you can see if a doula and pick which doula is right for you and your family. Because just because, we are doulas, that does not mean that we fit with your personality.
True. Absolutely.
So
Same as
you
a
want,
therapist. Yeah.
it's the same thing,
Yeah.
absolutely. And it's the same thing. One of the things that I do always say too is ahead of time for birth, providers in the beginning is the most important thing that you can do. You want to be happy with your provider. So it goes with the same thing with your doula team. You want to be happy. This person is about to be a part of the family. So you
Yeah.
want to know that you have chose the right person for the job, and somebody who's not just treating this as a job, but somebody who is there, who is helping you navigate through this new stage. And just, you know, you will find them and you'll love on them and you'll love the whole experience. And
Yeah.
when you have another one, you're just going to call them back or call me back.
Awesome. Yes. I definitely appreciate you for taking time, especially during this time, as yes, the pandemic is slowing down, thank goodness, thank God. And at the same time, I know that it's still, a struggle. It's still a struggle with like you are a mother and working mother, working motherhood. I say sometimes it's like a point of insanity. Sometimes because you're like, how can you do both? How? How? But I truly, truly appreciate you. Please, please let people know how to find your book, how to find you, and how to connect with you.
Oh, okay. So you can find me at lakorawhite.com. And my book is on the page as well. My book is on Amazon as well, but going to the website is a direct contact for me.
Yes.
And that is Lakora, white like the color.com.
Mhm.
And I am on social media, Instagram and Facebook. I am trying, and again, this is to motherhood. So, again, I admit failures. I am doing better in my life.
Yeah.
So, Tribe Called Mom is another one of my face groups that
Oh,
I
nice.
am about to relaunch and
Nice.
get back out there and work. I have been trying to kind of cultivate this in my education and go
Hmm.
higher. And so I've been neglecting social media. So I'm getting back out there.
It's
It's
hard. It's a full-time job. It
it
is.
really is. It is so hard. And so I can't do all of these things. What I just say, I just can't. So
Hmm.
so
You're
yeah, you
embracing
can
your
find me.
humanity.
Yes, you can find me at Tribe Called Mom on Facebook and on all of the other platforms at Lakora White. And more is coming. I'm super excited about all the different things that are going on that's related to motherhood and breastfeeding and just community awareness, and more work in the community is coming forward. And I'm super, super excited. And we'll be working together on a couple of projects. So I'm
Oh
excited with
yes,
that as
yes, me
well.
too. I'm excited. I appreciate you and thank you so much, Lakora. I truly
Thank
appreciate it.
you.